All right, if you're in the snow removal business, you know your salt spreader is one of your biggest money makers. But here's the thing, it could also be a huge money waster. So today we're going to break down how dialing in your specific salter settings isn't just about doing a good job, it's about protecting your profits. In this industry, it's not the mowing that traps you. It's pricing, systems, paperwork, and trying to figure everything out alone. That's why we built the Lawnpreneur Hub. It's a free home base for lawn, snow, and landscape pros who want to run the business side properly. Inside, you can ask questions in the community, get support when you're stuck, and see what's working for other owners. You've also got a growing learning library with practical training, pricing strategies, proposal training, and quick courses you can use immediately. Plus, there's free stuff, calculators, and tools you can download and put to work today. If you're tired of guessing, undercharging, and doing this alone, join the hub. So let me just ask you this straight up. Is your salt spreader wasting money? It's a question every single business owner should be asking. You know, every handful of salt that misses the pavement or gets laid down too thick, well, that's coming directly out of your bottom line. The truth is, most operators are using way more material than they actually need to, and they might not even realize it. So let's talk about the so-called industry standard. The problem there really isn't one. I mean, depending on who you ask, the recommended rate is all over the map. You'll hear numbers like 16 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and then someone else will tell you it's as little as 2.3 pounds. If you're relying on these vague guidelines, you're basically just guessing, and that's an expensive way to do business. Now, to put that high-end number into perspective, let's see what it means for your salt pile at a rate of 16 pounds per 1,000 square feet, 1 full ton of rock salt. It's only going to cover about 2.8 acres. For a lot of commercial routes, that ton is gone in a flash. But now check this out. If we cut that application rate by just a bit more than half, down to around 7 pounds, that exact same ton of salt now covers 6.5 acres. That is more than double the coverage from the same amount of material. Think about that. The financial impact of that difference over an entire season is just massive. So the solution isn't picking a random number off some chart. It's about understanding and, more importantly, controlling the variables on your own machine. It's time to move from that expensive guesswork to profitable precision, and we're going to show you exactly how. And here they are, the three keys you can control to do just that. First up, your vehicle speed consistency here is absolutely critical, ideally somewhere between 5 and 8 miles per hour. Second, the agra speed. Think of this as the gas pedal for how much salt you're feeding to the back. And third, the spinner setting, which is what dictates how wide and how dense your spread pattern is. You know, getting that spinner speed wrong is such a classic mistake. Setting it too high doesn't just waste salt by flinging it all over it can actually damage your client's landscaping. And that, my friends, creates a whole new set of expensive problems you don't want. So how do you find that sweet spot for your truck and your spreader? Well, you can't just guess. You have to run a calibration test. This is the essential step, right? This is where you put your settings to the proof and find out what they actually mean in pounds per square foot. Let's look at a real-world example to see how this works. For test A, the settings were pretty conservative. Auger set to 3, spinner set to 6, all while keeping a steady 5 miles per hour. This is our baseline, and the results under these exact conditions, the spreader was putting down about 5.5 pounds of salt per 1,000 square feet. See, it's no longer a guess, it's a hard number. We now know exactly what that combination of settings produces. Okay, now for test B, we're keeping the vehicle speed the same, but cranking up the settings. The auger goes to 6 and the spinner to 8. It's just a few simple clicks on the controller, but the impact, well, it's anything but simple. The output just skyrocketed to 13.5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Whoa, that is more than double the material used in test A. This is definitive proof that tiny little adjustments on your controller have a massive, and I mean massive effect on how much material you're burning through. Okay, so we've got all this technical data, but what really matters is how this knowledge actually transforms your business. This is the really cool part where we connect the pounds of salt directly to the profits in your bank account. Look at this for just a single property, the difference is stark. Servicing this one location at an uncalibrated high rate uses over 900 pounds of salt, but with a calibrated lower rate, it only requires 456 pounds. That is literally half the material cost for the exact same job. And this is the real power of knowing your numbers when you apply it across an entire route, when you know exactly how many pounds you're applying. You can bid every single job with precision. You know your material costs, you know your margins, you know your revenue. The guesswork is just gone. It's replaced by predictable profit. So here's the main takeaway, the thing to remember: calibration. It's not just some technical task, it's a core business strategy. It's the process of testing your equipment to find your numbers. It lets you turn a huge variable cost into a predictable, manageable expense. You know, at the end of the day, you can read all the industry standards you want, but they don't apply to your specific truck with your specific spreader. The only numbers that can make or break your profitability are the ones you discover for yourself. So the real question is, what are yours? You.